mind just wanders, you know.
So us women, we go in, we measure it by the inch. We can't work out why it's so large.
God, you guys are jet setters, eh?
Jets?
Well, in a manner of speaking. Floaty setters?
Floaty
perhaps?
doesn't
Floaty
sound as
setters?
good.
We mix
Doesn't
between
sound
the
as
sky and the seas.
Yeah. Just doesn't have that same panache, does it?
No,
You know,
really doesn't.
floaty setter as opposed to a jet setter. You guys have just come back from a cruise. For God's sake.
We did.
Hey, what's the story?
You got to live life, buddy.
You got
Yep. There are
We'll
things to
do anything
places
once
to
or
see.
even twice.
It
Yeah.
depends whether you like it or not. You know, that's what I said about my last girlfriend. So, okay, cruises. You came back from a cruise.
Yes.
What's the GO on cruises? Hey, I'm you know, people tell me it's shit. Other people say it's great.
Yeah.
And
A mixed bag.
yeah, you know, you get all sorts of friggin' diseases and stuff. I mean, no, hang on. Remember COVID? Do you remember COVID? Remember those ships?
COVID. What's that? You
Yeah. Remember those ships that were
Everyone come off
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, they were dripping with COVID. They were oozing COVID. They were.
Yeah. But were they really any different to any other place that had a confined space with a lot of people?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So give us your first-hand experience.
We've just finished a cruise, as Gunnar said, or Soos.
Yeah.
And what's the second one?
Yeah, second
Yep.
cruise. Yep.
And this one was only a short
It's
version.
like a mini cruise.
Yeah.
This
A
one.
mini cruise.
Yeah. But I love them. I think they're great. Getting sick and all that jazz doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, it's just like, are you going to not go to the pub because somebody said someone's got the sniffles or the flu? No, you're going to go. It happens, it happens. Don't let that worry you. But for me, I like it because, one, it's like a little resort. You're sitting by the pool. You got your drinks. You got, obviously, well, hopefully you got your sun. Well, where we travel, we go the northern side. So,
We chase the sun.
yeah, try and chase the sun.
Although we did go to New Zealand, that wasn't as sunny.
But it was in December, January.
Yeah, true.
So
As sunny
it was
as
the
you were ever
sunniest
going
as
to
ever
get.
going to get.
Yeah.
Because some people will fly to a destination and sit by a pool and a resort, and to go, that's their holiday, sitting by the pool. Maybe walk down the street, see something, go out for dinner. But on a ship, okay, you've got, this ship had like 4 or 5 pools. There was an adults only
I'm
pool.
surprised it didn't sink. With that much water in it.
I know. The
bloody
water's
submarine.
supposed to be outside the boat.
And so I spent more time at the adults only pool. But yeah, you got your spas, you got everything.
Hang on. Can you elaborate on that? Adults only pool. Was that like, you know,
clothes are
are we
optional?
talking
Yeah.
skinny dipping here or what?
Not that kind of adults.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my mind's running around, you know.
Yeah.
That's not like you. But you got all your comedy shows, you got your movies and your cinemas, you got your buffet breakfast for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You got everything. There's shops there if you want to buy stuff. You got jewellery you saw, you got clothes.
Yep.
Everything's all in one there.
Is it cheaper or more expensive? Is
It-
it a tourist trap or what is it for buying shit like that?
Buying shit, it's generally more expensive.
Okay.
It depends on what you're buying. Like the shops on cruises are generally more expensive. Come here, buddy.
Yeah.
But some of the specialty things that they'll have are then reasonable. So they had a jewellery stand set up where they had all different jewellery, but it was on chains and you would buy it by the measurement. So if you wanted a little bracelet
By
or
the inch.
Yeah,
I think by the inch.
by the inch. But they were actually quite reasonable.
Get out of it.
I know.
My mind just wanders, you know.
So us women, we go in, we measure it by the inch. We can't work out why it's so large. Lucky they measure it too. But that was fairly reasonably priced. compared to your normal jewelry stores, but
They were quite garbage.
it was like
wasn't really.
it wasn't top of the range.
It
No.
was shiny.
It was
Yeah.
shiny.
It was
pretty,
shiny.
Yeah.
and compared to shiny, pretty but cheap here, it was about the same price. But if
Okay.
you bought stuff in the shops, then they were kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to go on there and just relax, sit by a pool, your kids are over there, you're over there. There's kids clubs. There's water slides. There's flying foxes for the kids. The kids have got plenty to keep themselves amused. You can have your alone time, meet up for lunch and say, okay, meet there for lunch. It's perfect. You don't, the kids can't go anywhere. You can't get lost. You know,
Unless it's overboard.
yeah. Maybe you want that.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe do a few swimming lessons before you go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's bloody. I think they're great. I really enjoy them. And my next one, I wouldn't mind doing like a whole month.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I'll do a
So- What's the food like, first of all? What's the food like?
Food's not bad. Like I
Well,
wouldn't
you
say
have
it's
you have options,
up here.
but
There
that
is.
you can go to up here.
You can purchase so you can always buy more. So you can buy your lobsters and your oysters and all that. You know, your seafood, high class stuff, or your real high class steaks. They do give you that option, or you just have your run of mill. You got your Indian foods, you got your pastas, you got pizzas. Then you have your roast meats and that. So you do have all your different nationality foods type of thing.
Yep.
So it's more like they have a food court option. So the food court is open breakfast, lunch and dinner. You go into the food court and that's where you have all the different specialty things for different foods. Mexican, you've got your Asian food, you've got Indian, all that kind of stuff. In a food court environment.
Yeah.
You just walk in, you go up and they'll have that. It's all included in the cost of your cruise.
Yeah.
You don't pay any more for that, it's all
Yeah.
included.
Now, is that open all the time? So you can rock up at 10 o'clock, you can rock up at 4
There's-
o'clock, or is it like
It's-
dinner seating times?
It's probably overlapped so that there might be a couple of
a 2
hours
hour,
in the
there
day
might be
where
a
it's
2
shut.
hour lay in between breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
So breakfast will probably go all the way up to about 10:30,
Oh.
something like that.
Yeah, again.
About there.
So in this
And
particular
then lunch will
cruise-
start at even early 11.
Yeah.
They nearly do overlap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it
They
depends. So
nearly
this
do.
particular cruise we went on
Hey,
was
Rex.
a bigger ship, and
Shove
that
over on your
had
bum.
two. They had two what they called the pantry, which is like your food court. So they had two of them. So when one shut, the other one would remain open, and then when the
yeah.
other one shut, the other one would open.
So you never go hungry is what
you
you're
do
telling
not
me.
go hungry. But then for
Yep.
dinners, and you can also have them for breakfast and lunch, but for dinner, you get booked in. Now, it's different on different cruises, but so on a longer cruise, you might be booked in at the same restaurant every night at 6:30, and that's your allotted time.
Oh, okay.
So you go to that restaurant and you order your dinner off the menu, but there's no charge unless you order a specialty item on top.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
In
And
this
you get-
particular cruise, they had 3 restaurants, and we went to a different restaurant every night at our allotted time.
Yeah.
So we got
Ah.
to try everything. It was different. It was like
And
a
you got
little
your
thing.
casino.
And there's the
Now you have
casino.
my interest.
When it comes to cruising, gambling in the ship's casino is one of the most popular activities. In fact, in the late evening, it can be the busiest spot on the entire cruise ship. In many ways, the casinos on a cruise are very similar to what you'll find on land, just on a smaller scale. If you're someone who loves gaming, then you'll feel right at home in a cruise casino.
Casino that is open.
But is it
All
just
the time.
table go? But is it just like your standard shit, or do they have poker, or?
Yeah, poker,
Everything.
blackjack,
Really?
roulette,
Machines.
slot machines,
Pokey machines.
grabby things, and they do have everything.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
it's
okay.
quite big.
And this was on a short cruise, not on a
Yeah.
Yep.
international type
We
cruise.
didn't, and that's what because this cruise we only did a 4-day cruise just out of Sydney, Australia,
Yeah, just a long weekend one.
and I didn't think we would have made international waters. So I was under the understanding that they had to get out international waters to be able to gamble, but I don't know. Maybe different laws. Maybe one of you
Don't tell
guys
anyone.
might know the rules and laws about that.
Yeah, unless maybe it's
Because
changed.
the other one we did, we went across to New Zealand and to Tasmania and back to Australia. Then that's what I thought. Oh well, we did have to wait before the casino opened up until it went to international waters.
Okay.
But how far we went offshore, I didn't think maybe we were. I don't know. but I didn't think so.
Yeah, it didn't feel like we would have been.
No.
But,
you take a screenshot of that thing, that blue dot where you are with your map location, and we weren't that far. I couldn't see the land, but we weren't that far away.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about cost, your travel is included in it, your accommodation is included in it, or your food is included in it. You can buy drink packages before you go, so depending on the length of the cruise. So this particular cruise was only over 4 days, 3 nights. So they didn't have an alcohol package for you to purchase.
Okay, yep.
But they had a soft
people
drink
would
package.
actually smash it for
you
4
could-
days.
Yeah, that's right. But you do that over, say, 10, 14 days, and they're bound to have some days where you just can't drink.
Yeah.
So, the alcohol packages balance out a little bit.
Yeah. But
However-
I wasn't dear for alcohol. It was the same as if going to the pub here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to
Well,
buy.
that's fairly dear then.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't any more expensive.
Yeah.
But so a soft drink package for an adult was $15 a day. But that includes your soft drink, your juice, that kind of thing. So
All
if
soft drinks and OJs.
and they're about $5, $5 to $6 a drink. So if you got 2 cans of Coke and a juice, there's your $15.
Yeah,
So it was reasonable to take out a soft drink package if you wanted to drink that.
okay.
Um,
Do we know how much the alcohol packages are? I mean, I know that's not what you guys did, but do you have an experience of how much the alcohol packages are?
Well, on the New Zealand cruise, I think they were 70 something, 75, 70, 80, something like that. But the catch is...
Why, is that per day?
Yeah,
That's per day. And if you take it out, you have to take it out for every day of the cruise. You can't
Okay.
say, I'll have it for 5 days.
Yeah.
You have to take it out. So if you're on a 2-week cruise, that's 14 days times $70.
Right.
Now, are you going to actually use that over the whole length of the cruise?
Oh, yeah, there is that.
And
But-
if you do, are you going to see it as a challenge?
Yeah.
Are you going to remember
Challenge
your
accepted.
cruise?
Yeah, that's it. But then that also depends on what you're drinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a beer drinker, it
Yeah.
probably would not be worth it, perhaps.
Well,
Even at $70
be
a day,
surprised.
if you're talking about a pot. You
Yeah.
know, we're talking close to $10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
only
7 pots a day.
That's
Yeah.
it. And you'd be surprised if you're in sunny, warm weather. You'd be surprised how many beers will go down quickly in the nice sun
Yeah,
sitting by.
okay,
the pool.
but
Or a
but
nice
let's
strawberry
transfer that to
margarita.
Scotch or high-end
Yeah.
Scotch.
Yeah.
Is that all also included in
Yes.
that $70
I
a
had
day?
spirits in mind.
Yeah, but then if you went above a certain
They
level
did-
of spirit, so if you wanted an expensive
The top
spirit,
shelf
that
stuff?
wouldn't be
If
included.
you
Yeah.
want a Johnny Blue, for example,
No.
Johnny
Yeah.
Blue and Coke,
Yeah.
the ultimate sacrilege.
I think it was the basic spirits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
then
no,
some-
that's still fair enough though, because
Yeah.
that's quite
And
reasonable.
wines.
And wines,
Wine,
yeah.
You could have wines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So for me, who, if I had 3 drinks in one day, I wouldn't be able to actually go straight back to my room. With that, the rocking ship and the 3 drinks, I'd be lost. It's not worth me spending $70 a day. But on a longer cruise, sometimes in the soft drink packages, they also have coffee. So you can get your proper, nice coffees made in a coffee machine.
Barista coffee. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. This short cruise didn't have that, but they provided free tea and coffee, and they had a machine you could get it from if you like that,
Yeah.
or you have to buy your own coffee.
Okay.
So there's options depending on what you like. You don't always have to take that option or that option. Sometimes there's just different things that.
All right. So this was a 4-day. It was a short cruise.
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty much everything included, but you bought
Yeah.
a soft drink package. Okay.
Yep.
What does that set back a person normally, like one of these
what was
4-day
it per
cruises?
head?
Because it's per head, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
head. So this cruise for 4 days, so 3 nights, was around the $500 mark
Per person.
per person.
Okay, so for $500. So did we stop at any ports?
No.
Not on this trip.
No. It was
No.
Just all out on sea. It
Yeah.
was called an adventure, carnival adventure.
Yes, and it was a comedy cruise.
sort of based on a comedy thing. So there was heaps of comics on board, and there was
All
like
different comedy
3 or
shows.
4 comedy shows per day.
Okay.
And that's all included as well.
So for $500,
Yep.
you're getting your accommodation,
Yes.
you're getting your journey. I mean, it doesn't matter about the journey because you didn't stop anywhere, so
Yep.
you're basically on a boat.
But the good thing is, though, when you're on the boat, your holiday starts. You're not waiting to get there. Your holiday starts from the minute you step on that boat, which is so different to other holidays where you anticipate the travel and we've got to get here and we've got to get there
You're
and you
not
get there.
driving anywhere. You're not,
And then your holiday starts. Whereas this, you get on and you go, we started. It doesn't even matter when the boat moves because your holiday started.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. All right, so $500, you're getting your accommodation, you're getting your meals, you're getting your entertainment, you're getting your booze.
Babysitting.
What?
Babysitting.
You
If
can
you've got
get-
young kids,
can
you
get.
put your kids in kids
in-
club.
in
It's
kids
all
clubs,
included.
yeah.
And they entertain the kids. They do
Yep.
all kinds of things with them. They have different sittings. You can put them in as much or as little as you like.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that puts a whole new slant on it. I mean, it wouldn't affect me, but I'm
And
saying
neither
for a
us,
younger
but-
couple, but that,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Okay.
they do fun stuff with the
They
kids.
do fun stuff, yeah.
And some of the boats have dodgem cars on them. This one had a water slide on it. They
Two
have
big
rock
water
climbing. They have zip lining.
Yeah.
Some of them have ice skating rinks on the boat.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not talking-
unbelievable now.
So-
That's
so-
what I mean. They're full-on resorts on the water.
Yeah.
So they're bringing their own icebergs with them. So you don't have to go and
You
find
don't
one.
have to go and accidentally hit one. You're fine. But there's also a full gym on the boat. So you
Yeah.
can still go to the gym and work out. There's a beauty
We
salon
did.
on there where you can get your nails done, your hair's done, your...
That you pay for.
What? Yes.
I didn't have to pay for the gym.
We don't
I
pay
was,
for
I
the
was
gym.
working at the
You
gym.
you had to get you had to pay for the nails though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
He did.
Yeah. You can tell.
But so if you want to get your hair done and all that, you can, just like you would anywhere else. Obviously,
Yeah.
you pay for it, but it's a service that they offer.
Okay.
And then you put your kids in the kids club and you can go and have your hair done, or you put the kids in the kids club and you go to the adults only area where you lie by the pool and there's no kids running around and there's no noise, there's just adults.
Yeah.
It's excessive amount of drinking.
It's sounding better every day.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, here we go.
depending on the cruise, you actually go places. So you might get off in New Zealand or in Tahiti, or you can do cruises all around half the world. You can go to Spain, you can go to England.
My wife's
you can go
addicted to looking at all the specials now. She
Yeah.
constantly tells me every day, "Hey, hun, I look at this. There's a special on one that goes to 17 different countries. It's only 77 days at sea." I go,
Only.
"Right."
Only.
But there are some really good websites. So if you haven't been on a cruise before, it's probably a good idea to go to a travel agent and talk to them about it. And
Listen
find-
up. Listen up. This is where you got to
Find
look.
all about that. But you've got to read what they do. Sometimes the travel agent doesn't actually get it right too.
No.
So we booked a balcony room.
Yes.
So I like a balcony. It's not so much on the smaller cruises where we
It's a
can
view,
go out.
in other words.
But it's also if you want to get a little bit seasick or you're a little bit nervous about being out on the sea for the first time, having a balcony where you can open the doors and you can visually see how rough the sea is or how calm.
And
get a
and
breeze.
you can be sick straight over the balcony.
Be sick right over the edge. Hopefully not into the boat below that you get in if there's an emergency.
So if you lie down on the bed, you can look out and see
And you
that.
can see.
So if
And
the
it
beds are
helps-
rocking, don't come a knocking.
Yeah.
It's okay, they can't get in anyway. You've got to
Right.
have a swipey card.
Ah,
And that's
gotcha.
the other thing. The swipey cards are your everything. They're your money. They're your access to your rooms.
Oh,
you don't
wow.
have to carry around a bag or a key. It just hangs around your neck on a lanyard.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
But you want to pre-purchase your lanyard because the lanyards on the boat are very expensive. So if you take your own, you can save yourself $10.
Go to the
per
$2
person.
shop and
Yeah.
buy your own neck lanyard because you'll save $1.
Just get...
Yeah.
No, they were like $10 or $15 or something on the boat per lanyard.
Yeah, that's on the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whereas in the reject shop, I got 5 for like, what, $3?
Yeah, that's right.
They're the hidden tricks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you got to tell them where to
But-
go to look for these specials.
Yes, there are some really good sites that you can go to
All right,
look
we'll
for
just take a
specials.
word from our sponsors before we...
Yeah. No, you actually have to put in the comments. If you want the link, you type a comment and I'll send it to you. How's that?
Oh,
That's a
okay.
good
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we have found a bloody good
Yes.
area to find good specials
And
on.
it will give
and not
you-
everyone knows about this.
No, and it will give you massive discounts. 50%
Guaranteed.
off, 70% off,
Yep.
last
Wow.
minute
Yep.
sales. So,
Yep.
like there was one the other day, 114 days. I had my eye on that one. all around the world. All
Okay.
different
mate.
ports.
Yeah, there are some
Amazing.
huge ones.
Yes.
I,
And it was discounted 70% off.
Jesus.
Yep, and you got to think every day all the food and all this stuff is included, and they give you up to that many percent off.
And then you might get
Because
a
it's just
$500
last minute
credit
thing.
on
They just
your
want to
room.
fill a couple of more beds.
Yep.
That's it. You're probably having an internal one, not a water
But
view.
some of them you can choose.
Yeah, but actually there was. Yeah,
But you've got different prices.
yep.
Yeah.
But
so depending on what
you
rooms.
get some great deals. So you come up with a good thing there. So
Put a
you
comment.
and we will reply.
Like and subscribe.
and we'll
I'll
show
let
you
you
where to
know.
find these deals.
Yeah, that's right. All different cruise lines all around the world.
Because I know my missus has got her heart set on a Danube cruise.
Dan, what?
Danube? The
Danube.
River Danube.
Where's that?
In the River
River
Danube.
Danube.
Danube. It's
Danube.
Yeah. It crosses through Europe, so it goes through Austria, Germany, France, Hungary.
I've
the
heard of
whole
all
lot.
them places.
Yeah. and you stop at every place.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
get to see the whole of Europe, the old Europe and all that type of
Nice,
stuff.
nice.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's
Beautiful.
not on a, they call it a riverboat cruise ship as opposed to one of
Yes.
these mega
Cruise. Yeah.
ocean going cruise ships.
Yeah.
But they've been having trouble in the last, I don't know, years where the river level has been so low. You take your chances, you make your booking and whatever, and then they cancel it because the river's too low.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding me, you what?
But then that's the same with any cruise. You've got to take your chances with the weather and what
Yep.
the sea conditions are going to be. I mean, just recently up top end of Australia with the cyclone that
Yeah.
came across.
Yep.
There were cruises that got halfway up and had to come back, and others that just had to go out to sea because the weather conditions.
Yeah, we had a daughter that was on one that was they had to come in and
Yeah.
they had to come in. They couldn't stay out there because the cyclone was coming through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Amber was on there. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So that river one you're saying, so that's not tidal. It's fresh water only.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
right.
yep.
Yeah, wow.
Yep. I mean, that river goes pretty much the whole way through Europe. So
Wow.
you get to see like 10, 15 countries
Yep.
because it crosses that
I
many.
have to write that one down.
And,
on my list.
and they basically stop at every country.
Yep.
So, you get to see the castles of Austria
Yeah,
and
that'd be cool.
Hungary, as in all the way along. But,
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway,
Yeah.
that's that because, we both have roots in Europe, and so this is something that she wanted to do. But we've read so many things that they cancel on you at the last second, and good luck getting your deposit back and shit like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But that's where you would get really good travel insurance. So I wouldn't, even on
Yeah.
a domestic cruise.
Another good tip.
Yeah, even on a domestic cruise, I still like to get travel insurance. It's not expensive. But you're on a cruise. You drop your phone over the edge trying to get a good shot. There's $2,000 these days. Well, your
Yeah.
travel insurance would cover that.
Does it? Does it cover your phone?
Yes, it covers your phone. This is why I organise the travel.
Ah,
It covers
there you go.
if you're sick and you can't go. It covers you if there is an emergency in the family and you either can't go or you have to come back.
Right.
It covers you if you injure yourself on the boat and they have to get a helicopter in. It
Oh,
covers
wow.
you for all your
Yeah, it
travel
does, yeah.
and medical insurance. And so that's, I think, really, for the price of it, is it is really important to have that before you go.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's
Good tips.
yeah,
Good tips.
handy to have. But the other thing that's really good with cruises, if you're not a person that likes to fly, I'm very uncomfortable flying. That's me. I'm very uncomfortable flying. I can do a flight to Sydney. I can do a flight to Brisbane, but I really struggle anything longer than that.
I remember my very first flight. I was maybe 17, and my first flight ever on my own. I went to Tassie, and it was in a Fokker friendship.
Oh, what?
I don't want your fucking friendship. I want your
Fucking friendship.
Yeah.
I can't really understand that.
It was a propeller plane, and I was half expecting these pedals to come out from under the seat, so you had to. Yeah,
Right. Well, that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are really good because you can go to all the places you want to go to without having to get on a plane. Now, in Melbourne recently, they don't have a lot of the cruises leave from Melbourne like they used to. It's a
No,
lot more limited.
that means you got to either fly
Sydney
or
or
drive
Brisbane.
to Sydney to actually depart.
Yes.
But, you know, if Sydney, a flight, it was $89 to Sydney. So that's not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you can get whatever cruises from Sydney. Obviously, if you're wanting to go more north, then you probably, if you fly to Brisbane, your cruise is longer going around the islands than it is. You get to stop at the ports.
And
more,
if we want to
whereas
do one of
Sydney-
those big ones that go
Yeah.
to a lot of different countries, then they generally leave from the
Yeah.
eastern side of Australia as well.
Yeah, they do. And some of the cruises, if you want the bigger ones where you're going overseas, you then fly back, although then you get a longer one and it will take you all the way back. But it depends on your time frame as well. So if you fly halfway and then you cruise, obviously you've got more time spent in the destination that you want to be rather than actually getting there. So it depends on what you...
So is there a downside? Is there something that you didn't like? Is there a negative to cruises?
There's a lot of people, and depending on the cruise destination, depending on the cruise line that you go on, there's a lot of people with kids.
But yeah, so there are specific
Yeah.
cruises that are
Yes.
catered to, like, say, to teeny boppers,
Yep.
to over 28s, to over
You can
to
actually-
geriatrics.
More adults only.
You can actually have adults only cruises now,
Yep.
Okay.
which is really good, and I would prefer to do that next. Only because we've had our kids, we've already been through that stage. We don't need to be around 1,000 kids, cutting in line and being arrogant at the food.
Peeing in the pool.
Yeah, you're thinking about, why is that pool more yellow than that one? I'm going the adults only one.
And it's really, it's not a problem. Like, yes, there's a lot of people. It's not a problem. But if I had to think of a downside for us, who our kids are older
Yeah.
now, and we go on holidays.
If
it's
you like us and got
I
adult
don't
kids,
wanna have to
enjoy your
fight.
time.
Yeah.
You don't have to go on these kid cruises. Get on
There are
adults
options
only.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. The food in the food court sometimes when you're on a cruise for a long period of time is a little bit monotonous. If you think about your shopping centre food court, if you were going there every day for your meals for 2 weeks, you'd probably get a bit sick of it. But then you have the advantage of being able to go to the restaurant. So even though you might get sick of the everyday canteen food
Yeah,
style,
but you've always got options.
you've got options to go and do other things.
But the
So-
stuff that you don't have options for is the kids.
Yeah.
And anything else? Any other negative side to it?
Obviously, if there is an outbreak of something,
Hmm.
whether it's gastro, whether it's COVID, whether it's a flu, it doesn't matter what it is. You're
You
in a
can't
confined
get away
space.
from it.
You can
can't
always
get
jump
away.
overboard.
You can.
You can fucking swim home if you want.
Yeah.
Fucking
That
sucks.
could be a problem.
No backbone, these people. No staying power.
Yeah, that's why they need to bring back swimming lessons in school.
Yeah.
You've had enough on a boat. You just,
How long can you tread water?
that's right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. But you're going to get that if you're staying in a resort with a lot of people too. Being over the ocean is no different than...
And if you went to a little island, Fiji or Bali,
Yeah,
and
Bali
have an
Belly.
outbreak there, who gives a shit?
Everyone complains
You're still
about
going to go there. Yeah, that's right, Bali
Yeah.
Belly. You're still going to go there. Yeah? So don't let that stop you from going on these ships.
Yeah. They're still really good. And they
That's
have,
actually a good point.
Yeah.
they have a lot of things up everywhere about hygiene, washing your hands. You know, if you walk around, try not to touch the rails. 40,000 people have touched the rails. Don't touch the handrails. You know, there are things that you can just do in your own hygiene to try and prevent those kind of problems. But
Like having birds' bums in your faces.
yeah. Bird flu.
Well, you get bird flu now.
Bird flu.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and some kind of dandruff
Yeah, I got a
problem.
dandruff problem now with
Yeah.
all your stuff. Yeah, you.
Yes. You can't take birds on the cruise. I guess that's a downfall.
And in case you were wondering, that's actually an AI parrot.
Yeah, it's not real.
It's not real.
That's what he thinks about that. I'll show you AI. Yeah.
So, let us know what you think. And if you got any suggestions on, cruises and such.
What's your favourite cruise line? Some people have a particular cruise line
Yep.
and they will only go on that line.
That's true.
And
yeah.
the more cruises you
True.
go on, you get a different, like you'll go from blue to red to yellow to gold to platinum, and you get advantages. If you're platinum, you'll get free food, free drink at different places.
Different prices, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
The more, the more you go on these.
So it's like a loyalty card.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll
Yep.
buy my 6 cappuccino at
Yeah.
this one place and the next one's free.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
same with cruise
and it's a
lines,
status
so-
symbol. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a silver.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a gold.
Yeah, when you get to a certain level, you don't have to line up with all the other sheep. You've got your own line
a
that
bit
you
like
can
first class.
Mhm.
So you can get a
okay.
business class,
Yep.
a bit of a roll there.
go. Yep.
We're working our way up. We're not quite there yet. We're working our way up.
That's right. But yes.
Well,
So-
this is a very a good insight. I think that's opened our eyes a little bit.
We might all need to
I
go
think
on one.
Soos is actually going to maybe start searching this. Yeah.
But
But we haven't let him know where to go
No.
yet.
Yeah,
He's
no,
just
that's
got a
it.
comment.
I have to comment first.
Yeah, and if you've got any handy tips about cruising that you've picked up along the way that we don't know about, then that would be
Absolutely.
handy. You can always learn new things.
Yep,
Little
an old
secrets.
dog.
Oh, that's harsh. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's harsh.
They learn.
Oh, rightio. Who's coming on a cruise and who's coming back? I can tell you who's not coming back.
Have you heard of being keel hauled?
Yes.
That's pretty much it for us. Catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
See you later.